Step, something in my jeans. FOI, you know that's the team, huh?
Peace. This is your brother Aidan X, and welcome to the processing class. How did you get the teachings? Did you get it through, were you born in the nation, or did you get the teachings through some other way?
Yes, sir. May I open up as well in due respect. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah. Muhammad is his messenger and exalted Christ. And I further bear witness that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the extension of the Son of Man. All right. I am a student of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And first and foremost, brother, I want to thank you for reaching out to me and having this this thorough interview, man, and seeing how I came into the teachings and things of that nature. But the way I came into the teachings, brother, is through, incarceration, being incarcerated. At the age of 19, I went to a federal penitentiary for 17 and a half years. And during that process of being in prison, I went in, I was affiliated with a blood gang on the outside. And, of course, naturally, when I went in, that's what I knew. So I was able to link up with, the Bloods that was in the inside. And I had a few homies that was Crips. I had a few homies that was Bloods that I knew from the streets. So it was a difficult transition because I never knew what I was getting myself into. Being in the streets, running around, being shaped in iniquity, being shaped in my environment. And we know that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan says that you have to be careful on what environment you're placed in because it produces heredity, and never knew none of these things, brother, until I came into the teaching, but that's further on down. But yeah, I came into the teachings, through being in prison.
Yes, sir. And just going through that, because of course we know you now and we know the work that you do now. Can you go a little more in depth of who you were before you got the teachings?
Yes, sir. Of course. It's crazy, man, that, people always ask that. And I'm gonna just get straight to the chase. We was niggas. I was a nigga, you know what I mean? Straight up. And, of course, man, like just being shaped in your reality of what you grow up around, you become that, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but again, I was raised properly. I was raised by my father. A lot of young Black men are raised by their mothers, and a lot of them don't know their fathers. A lot of time the father is in prison or the father is dead, or the father is out in the world, but just not taking care of the responsibility. But I had an opportunity. I was fortunate enough to have my father, in my life. My mother and my father, they divorced when I was 6 years old. And I had siblings as well. I had a sister that was 3 years older than me. And I had a brother that was 7 years older than me. That was from my mother. But me and my sister, we had the same father and mother. And she was 3 years older than me. So at 6 years old, my father and my mom, they divorced. And I went with my father, and my brother and my sister went with my mother. Now, as a young child, naturally, the love you would think is more unconditionally for the child and mother. Allah created a special bond for the child and the mother. But at that time, of course, I'm 6 years old, so I didn't understand the split. I didn't understand the breakup between my parents, but I ended up going with my father. So, of course, naturally, I wanted to go with my mom, but I didn't know no better. But as time went on, I was glad that I did go with my father because he taught me how to fight. He taught me these things, you know what I'm saying? So he taught me so much that a woman probably would have been more passive about. You feel me? So it was like, when I got old enough, I asked my father, what was the reason you know, that I went with you and I didn't go with my mother. And he said, well, when they went to court, he told the judge that, you know, a woman can't teach a man how to be a man. That's my job. And the judge was like, you're absolutely correct. So, you know, I ended up going with my father, but I was raised, yes, sir, no, sir. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. I played sports my whole life, my childhood life, basketball, football, ran track, reading programs in the summertime. My father always kept me busy, even though the neighborhood that I was saturated around was drug infested, gang infested. It was a lot of things going on that he was trying to protect me from. But of course, as I grew, I just started becoming more inquisitive and just more, you know, curious about the things that I was seeing on an everyday basis. So I started to become that. So that brought dissension in between my father's household, because now I'm hanging out, I'm a replica, I'm a representation, I'm a reflection of my reality. And, you know, me and my father, we started to bump heads. And from that point on, it just got ugly.
Yes, sir. What do you think attracted you to, you say you was blood affiliated. What do you think attracted you? Was it the money? Was it the lifestyle? Was it, you know, being cool? What do you think attracted you to that?
Well, it was a sense of, you know, just being accepted, you know, a sense of being accepted, man. You know, it's like when you're young and you see certain things, and first of all, it started out just friends. You know, you growing up, you go to school, and you see some of your homies, and you see how they rocking, and they're your friend. You cool with them. You know, you don't want to be the black sheep of the crew. You don't want to be the one left out. You know what I mean? So it was kind of that sense. But I felt, you know, a love there. I felt a friendship there. You know, with the people that I went to school with. See, like the neighborhood that I grew up in is a Crip neighborhood, but where I went to school at, it was affiliated with majority Bloods. So just imagine me living in the Crip neighborhood, but the school I went to was my friends that I had grew up with since I was young in elementary, middle school. So by the time, you know, high school came, I got kicked out of one of the schools where I was living at, and I ended up going to an alternative school. So it was almost where I wasn't going to be able to graduate on time with my class. So my dad sent me back across where the blood affiliated neighborhood was at, where I went to school at. And it was just like reconnecting with all my guys, you know what I'm saying, that I went to school with when I was in elementary and I was in middle school with. So when I seen them, it was just like a connection again. So I had friends that was Crips because I stayed in the Crip neighborhood, but where I went to school at and graduated high school was affiliated, was like majority Blood. So there was partners that I had grew up with when I was young as well. So I was attracted just by the acceptance of the friendship and how genuine it was. So that's what attracted me to the Blood gang.